Pisces Collective, welcome, welcome. I'm Nikki, your local vegan tarotist. All right, I'm glad to get back to the sign-by-sign readings. As some of you know, I was traveling again. So, you could be moving, you could be integrating in some new way. You could be integrating new practices into your life. Like maybe you're not physically moving, but you're, getting out of a sort of stagnancy, getting out of a loop that's gonna really initiate this connection. There's kind of this strange, foggy, maybe you want some water, but the way that the sun is kind of making this glare, on the camera here, it reminds me of being underwater, and there's a term for that. There's also a term for those who enjoy the way that sunlight comes through trees. It's a very specific term, so you can look it up and maybe you relate to that. But I feel like you're getting back into water, back into nature, back into the woods. Maybe you've been kind of like in a humdrum of working, and I was watching a video by James Sexton, the New York City divorce lawyer, but where it was women like reported their top places they would not want to go on a first date. And I'm thinking like public parks were not on there, or like going on a hike or something like that, which as a first date, safety issues could be a concern. But if you're really that concerned, then maybe you shouldn't be going on a first date with somebody. If you're like, but you never know, right? I mean, you never know. Sometimes it's the long-term partners that end up, But this collective is a group of people who I feel have spent a lot of time alone. And when you spend time alone, you learn who you are, what you like, and you could be taking yourself out on dates, right? That's the best way to learn what you like to do. And you could have been forced into that because of a number of reasons, but you could have kind of been forced into solitude, or you could have chosen that, right? Pisces they are the hanged man, so they can kind of be like introverted in that way, where and even if they go out in public, they're sort of like the wallflower. They're always watching and observing and doing things in their own unique way. They see the world in a very unique way. And so it's like the way that I'm getting like your flashes of your perspectives. When I go on hikes, I take photos of my perspectives. And so it's just kind of like close-ups or, distant shots, different varied perspectives. Sometimes I'll do it like from the perspectives of the ground, where the dogs are, like to kind of see how others view the world. So there could be this first date, I feel like your first date with this person could be something where it might be something that gives you for instance, if you go to like an art museum, you're looking at the same thing, or if you go to a movie, you're watching the same movie, but then there's like a discussion about your own perspectives of how the other sees it differently than you see it. But it's not like past connections where you saw the world completely different and there's no common ground. There's some sense of like a common ground where you enjoy doing the same things, but you view the world through such a different lens that it kind of keeps things interesting, because Pisces are notorious for being they are the idealists of the zodiac. They're the dreamers, they can idealize, they've got big ideas, but in that hangman energy, they often don't pursue those dreams unless they have other placements or unless they have like encouragement from people around them. So if you are someone who has been forced into a sense of solitude, maybe your entire life, you've always felt like the wallflower, observing all of those around you, and you've never felt understood, which when you can dream really big, the literal world, the 3D world, often is incapable or unable or unwilling to see things from your perspective. And this isn't trying to get everyone to see things your way or there's a self-righteousness here. This is like, you have a very beautiful perspective, Pisces, that others have just sort of shunned or ignored. And this connection, I think on the first date, you're going to just get a sense that this person sees things differently, but their willingness, you're going to feel their willingness to see things your way. And you want to see things their way too, because you are very curious by nature. You could have a Sagittarius placement or be dealing with a Sagittarius. I'm finishing up the mutable signs right now, so I already did the so maybe there's something in the Sagittarius reading. I'm feeling drawn to the Native American tarot, so you could have Native American placements, ancestry, Native American placements. That's strange. Stickball. Yeah, 5. I feel like you probably, this is like sibling rivalry. This is growing up around and being around like constant conflict, disagreements, dick measuring. I always get that. It's stick measuring here because it's stickball, but I get dick measuring. The 5 of Wands is like constant disagreements, almost for the sake of disagreements. Like people who just need to be right. And you know, when you spend time alone, you realize it's not about being right, or wrong. It's about what's right for you. 11, Justice. All right. Okay, so I was getting gas this morning, and I pulled through the 9 to the 11. A 9 is the number of independence and solitude. There's a lot of solitude there. Like with the 4, you could be a life path 4 or life path 9. Maybe something about April or September is important here. But sorry, I just heard something strange. That guy has the same color shirt that I have on. Maybe you like Zelda. I mean, if you don't like Zelda, get out of here. Go on, get. You're not allowed here. But 11, and then I pulled through the 9 to the 11. So the 11 is that new beginning, right? It comes after the 10. 10 is a very challenging number because it is the number of endings. But the movie Endings, Beginnings, it's endings, comma, beginnings. There is, I don't remember what, I think maybe Leo? No, I don't know what she is. I don't know what she is. I can't remember her name. It's a very like unique name. But anyway, endings, beginnings. I believe there's an Aries and a Taurus love triangle. And I was getting this, like somebody from your past. I was listening to the song 2 Dozen Roses. You know, it's like, oh, if I had tried a little harder. Like somebody's watching you and they've watched your growth, and I think that they maybe tried to disempower you while you were together. This could be family members. This could be workplace environments. Again, you could have felt this from everywhere, but lovers, you could have felt like this sense of everyone trying to, this like pressure of people trying to change you, tell you that you were crazy, tell you that the way you thought, the way you spoke, the things you believed were all wrong. Like you were wrong. You were different. You could have felt very othered all your life. We get the Ace of Wands. So I feel like there's like this new inspiration, and it feels like magic. But the 2 Dozen Roses is like someone pining over you, like they fucked up. They dropped the ball. They did not appreciate what they had, and that's on them. And I don't know if we're still in Mercury retrograde, but we did just go through a retrograde, and I feel like we're always in some sort of retrograde. But Mercury is the magician. It's the alchemist. It's the throat chakra. It's about speaking your truth. It's about setting boundaries and alchemizing from a place of truth. So what's truth can be subjective, right? What's true for one person may be false for another. So if you had false truths implied on you or imposed on you by parents, by society, whatever, by past lovers, they told you you were the problem. Like I get like somebody going, whoa, calm down, why are you so angry? You're like, I'm not angry, I'm calm. And they're like, you really need to calm down. Like I can hear it in your tone, you need to calm. And you're like, I'm calm. And that's like in the movie Anger Management. Adam Sandler. Somebody's name could be Adam or start with an A, but Adam is like biblically the first man, human man, and first human man. You could be like an only boy, or like you could have been the only boy growing up or something, or just like that sense of feeling othered. Like surrounded by those who just are from a different world. You're from a different world. But, and then Jack Nicholson, who is a Taurus, which is the Hierophant and the High Priest, or no, Virgo is, you are the High Priestess, and Taurus is the High Priest, right? The Hierophant. So those two are very compatible in that they alchemize from the throat chakra and the third eye, which means you have to see the truth to speak the truth. And the way that you see the truth is by, doing things differently than others, because society doesn't want you to see the truth, right? The all-seeing eye is blocked, calcification, pollution, all of these things. And that's pollution in many forms. It's in blue light. It's in everything that we consume physically. It's all around us. There are ways that try to manipulate, and it's the grand conspiracy. I don't call it a theory, where it is the detachment, the division of self, because if we don't know ourselves, we cannot know how to connect with others, and then there's a great divide, and we rely on the media, we rely on the news to tell us what is true. But when you isolate, you see things as they really are. When you sit with self, when you sit with source, you can see things as they really are. But in anger management, Jack Nicholson's like, whoa, I'm sensing a tone here. He's like, I'm calm, or when it's, I think it starts on the airplane. So there could be something about airplanes and travel. But yeah, he's like, I'm calm. And they're like, whoa, air marshal, like, I don't know if they tase him. I don't know if that's in that movie, but I feel like, it's like people around you keep telling you what you think and what you know and what you are. And you're like, no, you're wrong. And it's not that you're wrong in your life, but you're wrong for telling me who I am. That's a lot. But justice, this is like this love. And I feel like you're just coming to a place of independence that you can see what's right for you. And a lot of people could have been like, this is the type of person you need to be with, or somehow these entities around you could have influenced your love life. Maiden of Blades, you could be dealing with, there could be a feminine air sign here, but the Queen of Swords is somebody who, if you're the feminine, Pisces, that's somebody who says no, and that's it. The Queen of Swords sets a boundary and does not explain themselves. If they have to explain themselves, that means you've crossed their boundary. I mean, that's not somebody going, curiously asking, well, why do you say that? Why do you believe that? Why do you behave that way or think that way? This isn't somebody who's trying to get information from you. I feel like this is past energy of those who continuously crossed your boundaries, ignored your boundaries, diminished your boundaries. The wish card is 9 of Cups, right? That is wish fulfillment. So we've got justice. This is like your divine justice. And then we have the union card here, 2 of Cups, right? It's like the lovers, Gemini energy. So Virgo, Gemini, and Taurus are all of the throat chakra. That's mercurial energy. And it is the magician. It is the divine alchemist. The Emperor and the Empress are both alchemists. They are both, because the Emperor and the Empress are not born into a kingdom, right? They build an empire. They create, they alchemize their reality. So they have to be magicians. So it's like say you were born into Pisces, right? You were born as a king or queen of cups. That's your kingdom. But it's almost like maybe you did run away from home, or you moved out early, or there was like a sort of early independence where you were kind of, you could have been someone who just had to grow up faster than those around you. sounded like they were much closer than they are. You could have a Taurus placement, but there is this sort of like protecting your peace, like this is my spot, my territory. Get out of here. Where was I going with that? Okay, so you're born into a kingdom, you leave your kingdom or queendom, and you travel around to the other ones, right? You go to wands, you go to fire, all right? You go to air, swords, and you go to earth, pentacles, and then you return home, right? Because that's what ascension is. It's a process of descension. It's a process of returning to self, to actualization, to truth. And then you return to self, and you've gathered like all of these tokens, which does remind me of Zelda, where it's like you're kind of grabbing all of these things, you're getting all these things in your tool bag. Your satchel is very full. Heyo. But then you return back to your home, and this could be like a literal returning home. Maybe you're going back to your hometown or something, and maybe that's why these past energies are like, whoa, you've really changed. Maybe I could have done things differently. There could be some healing available there, but I feel like you're not really entertaining those past connections, whether they're family, friends, lovers, because, and this could be like a teacher who said, like, you're never going to amount to anything, you know, which is an awful thing for a teacher to say, but they do say that. And parents say that, and lovers say that. And if you were othered, so you return back, and it's like this return to self, where you've collected all of these elements as divine tools for alchemizing a new reality, which is how you start brick by brick building your she's a brick, dun, 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 a house, dun, 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 she's mighty, mighty, she's letting it all hang out. Yeah, with the nine is like, people see this independence. They see that you have ownership over your mechanisms. That's the word I'm getting, mechanisms. Maybe somebody does something with mechanics, like you could have a mechanical process, or like you think about things kind of mechanically. You see things as cogs and pieces of a puzzle. You could like puzzles a lot, but it's like you've mechanized this engine, this great engine, which is like your chariot. You could have a Cancerian placement. Let's see. All right, we'll read for the feminine here. Now that we're 18 minutes in. Feminine for Pisces. Let's see what's going on the feminine side, because I want to talk about this union, because that's a lot of past energy, but I feel like it's a very powerful place for you. And Pisces has been going through it for a long time. Pisces is always going through it, I'm telling you. They are like, they just don't really fit in this world. What did I just watch? There it is, yeah. Okay, so Nine of Pentacles, which is that very independent energy, and we got the Hanged Man at the bottom, so there you are. Because of everything that I just said, like you see things differently, and you've created this independent world, and you're looking good. You've utilized what you have. You've multiplied your resources, and you're in such a strong place, which is perfect, because if you were dealing with doubt of what others, those false truths that others laid upon you, or, you know, pushed upon you, because it doesn't feel gentle, like they laid them upon you. That seems more suggestive, like maybe you're crazy. This is like, you're fucking crazy. No one's ever gonna love you. You're never gonna amount to anything. And these are belief systems that we build off of these false truths. So this is someone who is very stable in themselves, right? This is someone who's like, well, I gotta do it on my own, so I'm gonna do it on my own. And then earlier with the Queen of Swords energy, Oh, I was watching Glass. All right, the sequel to Split / the threequel. The culmination of Unbreakable and Split, right? It's like the union of the two, you know, the three forces or whatever. But anyway, where Samuel L. Jackson, his character, Mr. Glass, says, you know, and he's like easily broken, right? It's like, I mean, his physical body is easily broken. So, but it's, but his mind is strong, and like he overcame all the obstacles that were put upon his physical body. I mean, you could have dealt with a lot of physical ailments, but whatever these perceived weaknesses were from before have actually become your strength. And you're also someone that like people didn't see coming. You're an underdog, right? The Native American zodiac for Pisces is the wolf. You are the underdog. And maybe cool little side story. So whenever I go to places like laundromats or wherever there's little bubblegum machines, especially if there's like a little mystery machine or, you know, it's a variety, as one form of like divination, I will always carry around like $1 in quarters or something so that I can go to those machines on my travels and get little souvenirs. Excuse me. Yeah, someone tried to stop you from speaking a truth. Which again, I'll just touch this real quick and then I'll go back to the story because I want to finish this. So with the Queen of Swords, when the Queen of Swords says no and you pass that boundary, then you meet the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands says, get away from her, you bitch. Sigourney Weaver, I believe Libra, and that's karmic justice, which I just saw something that said, like, if you, Lisa Bilyeu, she put a post up that said, if you mess with me, I will let karma, like, I'm paraphrasing. If you mess with me, I will wait for karma to sort it out, basically. If you mess with someone I love, I become karma, right? So it's like, yeah, there could be like loved ones, children involved, where it's like you've had to like set very strong boundaries to, like very firm boundaries to protect others. But yeah, this can be quite vengeful, but it's not vengeful in a way that is childlike. This is not someone who lashes out. This is someone who says, I told you no. You bitch. Get away from her, you bitch. This is someone protecting. If you're not protecting a physical child, a literal child, you're protecting your inner child. And you're saying, no, I've done too much work to preserve my innocence and preserve my purity and my truth and my dreams and my values, my core. I'm not gonna let you mess with that. Okay, so back to this. So that cliffhanger I left you guys on. It was a thing of tattoos, and there were like horror people, like Michael Myers and stuff. And then there was this one, and then it had a wolf. And I, you know, maybe in preparation for this, I wasn't sure what sign I was going to do next. Excuse me. But I've always felt very close to Pisces. Maybe as a Taurus, as a Hierophant, also like a lot of my favorite people were Pisces, have been Pisces in my life. But the little machine, the little thing where you put the coins, was stuck. So I went to pull it out, and it came out. Someone had already gotten this one, and I guess didn't pull the thing out, and this popped out. So it was the lone wolf, which was the one that I liked. So with the arrows here, it's the 2 of arrows. So that's like the 2 of swords in this Native American deck. I mean, this is like a hatchet, but that's also Sagittarius energy, more Sagittarius energy, which is the crown, which is like being aligned with truth, being aligned with source, and being able to download information because you see the truth. Then you can speak the truth. You can alchemize the truth. So you see the truth, you speak the truth, you are the truth. But the lone wolf is someone who goes against the pack. They go their own way. Fleetwood, like a fleet of ships, right? Okay, so yeah, the feminine side of things just confirmed what I was saying. Like, someone set a boundary, and so they became And this is, look, she's got 4 arms. She's a master magician. This is someone who's dealt with a master manipulator, because a lot of arms might be a manipulator, but this is like a witch, right? This is a white witch, okay? Because we don't deal with black witches here, right? We don't deal with false witches who do black magic on others. We just don't do it. Yeah, the end of deception, King of Swords. So yeah, the masculine's in the same energy. You both are, like, I think you both are gonna have a lot of historical alignment, your personal history. Okay, the Lovers in the Sun. Yeah, is the happiest card in the deck. Could be a child involved, or there may very well be a child involved, but look how free this inner child is. You two have healed, both of you, and then we have the, divine union here, the Lovers. We've got the Two of Cups, and that's clarifying the Two of Cups, the union card, right? So it's like, yeah, this is all divine. And man, I just want to give you some props here, Pisces, because you've really stuck with it. Like, there were times where I feel you doubted yourself. Like, maybe I am the crazy one. Maybe I am a narcissist. Maybe I'm a piece of shit. Maybe I'm never going to be. Like, there have been moments in your life where I feel you have really struggled with the confidence to continue in your truth and to just trust in divine timing and to trust that you deserve love and that you will receive this great love. But both of you had to go through this process, this long journey of getting the tools to alchemize from your truth. And very specifically, somebody could have been with like a fire sign, a water sign, an earth sign, an air sign. Like, you could have been with like all the varieties of types of people. You could have been with like all the personality types in like the dark triad or the cluster B personalities. I think there are 9 in the cluster B. So again, 9s are very important here, because it's like whatever this long journey that both of you have been through has brought you to a place where you are able to alchemize from such strength. Strength also is represented by the sun, which is Leo energy. So you could have a Leo placement, but the sun is the divine masculine. That is a masculine coming in to reveal themselves as the truth. Which tells me, let's see what it tells me. Temperance, Sagittarius energy, 10 of Pentacles, and Strength. So there's that Sagittarius energy, the Leo again. And Temperance this is faith. This is the crown chakra. Jupiter. Maybe check your Jupiter placement. But this is, and see how balanced this is? Like, karma has been at work for you to get you to this point. And the 10 of Pentacles is like, this is the most solid connection. When you're talking about love, you want the 10 of Cups, you want the 10 of Pentacles. All right, you have the 9 of Cups, which is that wish fulfillment, which people are like, you should lower your standards. You're too picky. You want too much, And it's like, if you're not attracted to somebody, you're just not attracted to them. If they give you the icks, if they bother you, there are 8 billion people on the planet. There are billions of people on this planet, okay? Because I know not all 8 billion are available for union, okay? For a number of reasons, right? Some are legal, and some are, because they're married or whatever. But there could be an age gap here, but I'm getting that I've heard it a number of times where people say, men joke about, oh, my wife isn't even born yet, which is weird. I don't condone like very large age gaps like that, just because I don't. But and maybe you don't either. Maybe you've dealt with a large age gap and you're like, no, this is not for me, because we're just on 2 different planes. Like, we're not but saying like, oh, my wife is not born yet, there is like this born again factor, of maybe why this is taking so long is because like your other person had to, they had to go through their own death. They had to go through their own death and rebirth and had to be like reborn, born again. You could have come back to some sort of religion. So maybe you grew up in something that was like false and toxic and full of lies and manipulation and tactics that were employed to like keep you in that cycle. And then you may have branched off like on a spiritual journey, and it's like you can still honor your roots, like of Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, wherever you came from, like whatever that was. Catholicism is a big one where people go away from it because there's so much shame around it. And there's no shame with true God, with the divine. It's unconditional love. There's no shame there. You're always, redemption is always available to you, right? When you actually are connected with source through the crown chakra, and when you understand karma. So a lot of times you probably received like karmic interference, and you thought like, why is nothing working out for me? Like, why didn't that work out? Why? And Pisces are also notorious for ruminating on the past, what could have been, and they are linked to nostalgia because they are dreamers. They're big dreamers, and so it's like the reality of the world really snuffs that out, and so it's like it seems easier to go back to other things, and there may have been temptation to go back to a previous partner. For those of you that did not succumb to that, or that will not, if this hasn't happened yet, like this person may be coming into your life soon and being like, oh, if I had 24 roses, I will do it all differently. Don't believe that shit. I was just watching about future faking, and like that is a tactic. So just don't fall for that shit. Fall for like, take that leap of faith with the Fool. Fall for truth. Fall for actions. Fall for what is aligned with you, and not what could be aligned with you. Or maybe you could adjust to that, right? Because when you start to do that, it's like a fish out of water. Y'all are the fish. Stay in the water. Stay in the water. Like, that's your home. But there's some sort of like coming home, but in a way that is so much more grounded and rooted in your truth. So I do feel like you are unfazed by any of these like attempts to draw you back into the past. So it's like, instead of ruminating on the past of what could have been, it's like you are manifesting and creating the future that you want to see, and you know to be true for you, and you know to be the reality that that others told you was unrealistic. Whew, that was a lot. You guys always have like heavy readings because, you know, Queen of Swords. Yeah, the Queen of Swords has her swords open in that one. Yeah, that you've been doing this for a long time by yourself. These multitasking arms. It's someone who's been alchemizing by themselves for a long time, and now it's like you don't have to do it by yourself anymore. And on some level, I think you know you were never doing it by yourself, but it felt like you were by yourself. That karmic interference was actually divine protection. So there's almost like a, you know, maybe you went through a phase of like atheism, or just questioning, like, well, how can God be real if these bad things happen? It's like the devil influences bad things to happen and facilitates bad things to happen. All right, what we do with those bad things is up to us. Death, destruction, all of that, it is part of the divine plan, right? I always say, you know, demonic detours are actually, they all lead us back to the divine. They all lead us home. All roads lead back to home. So it doesn't matter that it seems like, oh, but I wanted to go that way. But you're meant to go this way. There was something that you were meant to go that way for. And God does not test you, the devil tests you. All right? Because an unconditional parent isn't going to test you. An unconditional partner isn't going to test you. They're going to trust you. All right? So you were probably with people who were like, I keep getting the word persnickety in Series of Unfortunate Events, the movie Series of Unfortunate Events, which I haven't seen, which is crazy because I love Jim Carrey, but I don't know why. I think maybe I started it and there's something about it. I just was like, I was not in the mood to watch it, and then I just never returned to it. So I don't know, maybe there's something in that. But they do, I think they're orphaned and they lose their parents or whatever. So you could have always felt like an orphan whether your parents are alive or not. So I think that's enough for now, Pisces. Hopefully there was something in here for you. And until next time, I wish you well.